said that fats don't make you fat. And by that I mean they've just got as many calories as any other foodstuff. So if you eat too much of it, you probably will put on weight. If you don't eat enough of it, you'll probably lose weight. It's all about calorific control. But here's the thing, fat is much more calorifically dense. So if I eat a little knob of butter, say 25 grams of it, then I'm eating a lot more calories per cube, if you like, than I am if I took the 25 grams as spinach. And what that actually means is there's less bulk in my tummy, and therefore the signals that are going up through to my brain are probably going to tell me that I'm full much quicker with the spinach than I am with the fat. So we can gorge on it a lot more. And fat turns into an absolute powerhouse of gorgeousness when it's mixed with potatoes, flour and sugar, as we all know. So to my knowledge, fat has never really killed anybody. In fact, all of those of you that are experts on insulin and insulin resistance will know that our insulin will spike a lot less from eating fat than it will from sugar, flour, potatoes, etc. So fat is a very confusing subject. Even for me, it's much harder to talk about than the other two macronutrients, which are protein and carbohydrate. But given that I've only got a minute or two, here's my take on them. There's no such thing as a bad fat. We've become a bit polarized because it gets headlines. But there is a big but. There is one baddie, and they are called trans fats. You may remember, if you're slightly older, that the market was flooded with trans fats via margarines. They're still being used in lots of foods, particularly processed cakes and bakeries. My understanding is they're getting banned in most countries, and their use is getting less and less and less. But they're particularly prevalent in what I call motorway foods. So if I'm driving up and down the roads of the UK and I stop in and want a flapjack, it's highly likely, if I look at the back of the packet, that it's got hydrogenated fats and stuff. And it's the only way I can sort of suggest to you that you might detect it. It's really cloyy, and I always say to the kids it's like eating paint. Not that I've ever eaten paint, but you know what I mean. So trans fats, no, big no for me. Other than that, I could talk all day about the different types of fats, but the absolute nub of it for me is the balance of what you have between omega-3 and 6. And there's all different ones in all different brackets. So they'll have a bit of this and a bit of that, and fish will have a bit of 6 and it will have a bit of 3. And game, meat, pheasant, whatever, deer, you know, will have a bit of omega-3 and I'll have a bit of omega-6. But essentially, if we're polarizing it, omega-3s we call good because we just don't eat enough of them. And ideally for our health and longevity, we should have them about 1 to 4. So 1 of omega-3 to 4 of about omega-6. But unfortunately, most of us in the Western world are probably doing about 15 times plus. And if you look at these lists, you can see why. Most nuts have omega-6, all of the fats and stuff used in breads and bakery, chicken, fast food, most vegetable oils, but weirdly not things like canola oil, which got bad press. So you could really delve into this and get very confused about fat. But my big takeaway is if you can keep it to 25% of your diet, and as you know from listening to me often enough, nothing measured is nothing gained. So you're probably going to have to get on MyFitnessPal just for a few days just to see where you are with your fat. So keep it at about 25% of your calorific intake a day. And if you're talking about saturated fats, which I know everybody's obsessed about, they can be either really good like coconut oil or really bad like beef fat in people's heads. But if you keep that saturated fat to 10% of your diet, then you're onto a good one. So I hope that's a really good sort of encapsulation of a very complicated subject. Please DM me as usual. Always very happy to chat around these subjects. And until next Wednesday, take care, have fun, stay strong. Bye for now.